Kealtuk clung to the side of the small asteroid, obscured from the looming massive skull floating closer. They had planned this raid for months, hoping it would use this cluster to hide out in. Perhaps some of his first-timers will get their first Illithid head and welcome them into their ranks. He flashed hand signs to his second command, and he nodded back. They were ready. He began to count off, then kicked, floating from the asteroid, closer and closer to the large skull. He reoriented himself as the skull's gravity drew him in and his feet landed on the mouth of the skull. He rushed in silently, his 27 other Githyanki warriors behind him. 2 Illithids emerged from a doorway, but he surprised them, dashing forward, and took one head clean off. His fellow Gith finished the second. "Go there, and there," he ordered to his men. "The rest with me. To the center room." He ran through the interior of the skull toward the center. There, a beholder, held by tentacles, the large brain in the skull above, looked in pain. "Kill it!" he yelled, pointing to the elder brain. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw movement, just before a force smacked him against the wall. He coughed up blood and saw a 7-foot-tall Illithid slowly descend from the roof of the elder brain. At the end of each tentacle, an eyeball. "Never mind! Kill that!" The Skull of the Void is a freestanding astrological body. It does not revolve around any other object, nor is anything even close to it. Its constant and stationary position is about 50 million miles from any sphere, and shaped perfectly like a normal human head. It appears to be made completely of bone. Whenever this structure is damaged, it magically repairs itself. It also creates its own air, which the inhabitants then breathe. Secretly living inside the Skull of the Void is a colony of Illithids who have corralled more than 100 beholders. These beholders have their eye stalks continually sliced off with immaculately cleaned blades so that they can never be used against their captors. Their large central eyes are branded with markings of the Illithid clan, which owns them. This is used to assure that no Illithid steals from another, and also effectively keeps the beholders blinded. The Illithids are attempting to use their selective breeding techniques perfected on humanoids to breed the ultimate beholder brain. Beholders possessing brains sometimes as large as 4 feet in diameter are cranial commodities that the Illithids are unable to resist exploiting. Currently, outside this laboratory, the beholders and the Illithids have been able to work together, so this breeding laboratory is a well-kept secret. Currently, there are 7 different species of beholders and beholderkin forced to live their lives here in constant misery. As an interesting side effect of eating the brains of beholders, the Illithid breeders living in the Skull of the Void have grown glands on their brains similar to those found in beholders. This gland allows the Illithids to levitate. This ability of these quasi-humanoids also gives them an improved base movement. In recent generations, the Skull inhabitants have experienced great resentment and racial hatred from other Illithids who do not possess this levitation ability. Should anyone attack this Mind Flayer stronghold, the Illithids will fight with their might to keep it. Their whole culture is based on the consumption of beholder brains, and they know that this is the source of their levitation abilities. To lose that would be a fate worse than death. One aspect of their physiology that they do not understand is that the levitating property is now genetically embedded in their genes, meaning that even if they stopped eating the beholder brains, they would still gain the levitation properties of their parents. This makes them potent opponents. Luckily, they have not yet gained the magic related to the beholder's eyes, yet.